we want right now. Yeah, be careful because they be scamming you and other people.
Huh?
They be scamming you and the rest of them. Right?
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris Bender Sr.
Devin Pender here. Just to remind y'all, we are here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. Also, remember to like, follow, subscribe, share, and comment. We're on all platforms, pretty much.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I'm launching with that. We're on Spotify, Podbean, Radio, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook.
Instagram.
And Instagram. Oh, and Instagram. Yeah, of course we
You
are.
gotta make sure you say that.
Yeah, we are. We are on all platforms. So Chris is, I guess, on his way.
Yeah.
So interesting topic tonight. I think it's a good topic. So the question is, are you healthy? And when most people think about healthy, they only tend to think about the physical portion of it. But we want to look at, are you healthy physically? Are you healthy emotionally? Are you healthy intellectually?
Mm-hmm.
Are you healthy mentally?
All across the board.
And are you healthy financially? Yeah, it's different aspects because a lot of us will invest a lot of time in working out. You know, we work our bodies out. We do, but we don't work on anything else. You know, we work our bodies out, man, but are we reading? You know, we'll spend, hours working out and then spend hours looking at TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of us, we don't invest when it comes to, we don't manage our money well. You know, that's another aspect of that we have to take a look at. So, and it's an interesting thing. Like myself, I get up early every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure I do a physical workout. I get 30 minutes in a day. You know, not like you guys lifting up the entire gym, but you know, I got some hand weights. I got my treadmill, so I get 30 minutes every day. And I love to crack of dawn. I get up around 5:15.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I wake up around 4:30, kind of later, get myself together.
It's way too early.
You know, I do it on my part. It's what I do. So I get up, you know, and then you know I'll do my workout. I do my devotion. You know, so I take care of this two-part, spiritual part. You know, I make sure I eat a good meal. I don't go crazy at breakfast. A lot of times I'll eat fruit or different things of that nature. You know, I read every day. So when I come home, I make sure I'm reading. Or if I have extra time in the morning, like today, I didn't have to be anywhere till later, so I read. You know, I got books on my desk. I sit over there and I read. You know, so I'm working on all those parts. You know, financially, you know, working on my investments, what I'm saving as your mom and I try to get ready for retirement. And I think it's important. I think especially as people of color, we don't pay attention to those things. So, you know, we'll have money, but we are broken down and beat up.
Yeah.
You know, or we're making a lot of money, but mentally we just jacked up. You know, we don't take time to just breathe. So I think it's important that we look at those areas.
Yeah. Or people could look very physically fit, but you know, they could be mentally off, or you know, their finances aren't the greatest. Like I said, there's a lot of different aspects that go into it. You know, I have to improve across the spectrum just because you know I just got back from the gym, so the physical part is definitely there, but you know, it's the mental that has to catch up, and
But
financial, of course.
you have to be deliberate, and I think in total transparency, when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pay much attention to the mental part, the intellectual part, you know, the finance part. I didn't. As you get older, though, you begin to realize the importance of having that balance. The importance of being physically fit, because a lot of people don't take care of their bodies, you know. But as you get older, you realize, like, man, I got to take care of my body. You know, if I want to be able to do some of the things that I want to be able to do, I got to have a healthy body.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to be able to, you know, like we're going to hit golf ball Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't go golf ball Sunday, my body falling apart.
Yeah.
You know, I can't chase Mackenzie, the grandson. I can't keep up with him. You know, to go out and do stuff with your mom. I want to be able to do that. I love what I do for a living, but I can't do that if I'm not in some kind of physical shape. And the older you get, the more emphasis you got to put on it. When I was younger, I could roll out of bed and be in shape. Now, I got to do the 30 minutes a day. I get up, do 30 minutes a day. I keep my weight down. I don't have all the issues I used to have. As far as eating right, I just came off a 21-day fast, which was, woo, but I fasted. I had no meat. There was no meat, no chocolate, no pasta, no bread, and no soda. Man, it was torture, man.
I was about to
no
say,
TV and no TV.
You love chocolate and hard soda, so.
And no TV, but you do it because it helps me. The spiritual side of it is, you pray for clarity and distinct things you want to see happen in your life. But you also discipline. You all need to practice discipline.
Yeah.
Not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. And when you fast, all those things come into play. Emotionally, when you're emotionally out of text, and we'll start to go on, it drains you.
Yeah.
I think to me, emotional fatigue is the worst kind.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You said something.
Kind of fatigue, man.
You said something very interesting, which is the important part is the discipline and finding a routine in it. It's real easy in the beginning, like to get motivated and do those certain things, but once it's like week 3 or the second month. Are you still invested in those things, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally? I feel like the discipline part is the toughest part for a lot of people.
Well, for me, I have to be. I have to be. One, because I work around a lot of people. And when you work around a lot of people, and if I look at work, and look at what I do in ministry, I'm around a lot of people, folk get on your nerves. That's just the reality of it all. Folk wear you. So if I'm not working on myself spiritually, I don't have the patience I need to have. If I'm not working on myself spiritually, when I had an urge to tell somebody something, I don't. So it's important for me. That's how I keep balancing the emotional part of my life, the spiritually. Because if this is what I'm trying to do, this is who I'm trying to be like, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, that's the barometer for which I measure everything I do. I come up short sometimes, but it is. So it's like forgiveness, all this stuff comes from, you gotta have some kind of, for me, it's through my spirituality, so my belief in Christ that allows me to practice forgiveness. We talk about it on the show, to practice forgiveness, man, and to kind of let things slide that I didn't let slide when I was growing up. So that's important. Plus, see, to me, the spiritual part also gives you peace of mind, because when things are going crazy all around you, can kind of have that musa moment. You can just breathe a little bit.
Yeah, and it's interesting that I kind of wish I can't speak for in schools now, but back when I was in high school, I feel like they mainly focused on just the physical part. You have gym class, you have health education. There's not too much focus. I mean, like I said, it could be different now. There's not too much focus on like the mental part and the financial part. And it's kind of interesting. It's like, how come that isn't such a focus as well, too?
Well, I think one, it should be a focus. Let me real practice. But for a while, it was a big deal because everybody was doing mindfulness. Somebody did figure out that if you can slow these kids down and make them stop, take a deep breath, they're a little less hyper. More time to think about things before you do things. So it's just kind of dying out, but that was a big deal for a while.
See, I didn't hear about that until college. Like I had a mindfulness class.
But that's kind of when it came out. That's kind of when it came out, and then it kind of went away. It was like a fad. But it works. I think the reason why when I was going it wasn't a big deal because nobody ever paid attention to it. I mean, because it was a hippie thing. If you look at the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, meditating and stuff, everybody considered was a hippie thing. That's what hippies did. They would sit down, they would do the thing, man. Men didn't think it was masculine to do yoga. So there was a lot of things that played into it that just wasn't, it wasn't that it wasn't around. It was just kind of pigeonholed. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But if you fast forward, it also means you got to sit down and be still. And that's one thing that a lot of people are not comfortable with. And a lot of times, and I'll get to I guess this kind of fits into mental and emotional. We always think we have to do what I need to be doing, or everything I do should have a purpose behind it. And that's what with a mental, because emotionally, because the world is always doing something. Oh, you got to be grinding. That's what everybody say. Yeah, but sometimes you got to stop and think. Sometimes you got to stop and plot and plan and think ahead. It's not always I got to be moving. Sometimes you got to stop and take a deep breath so you can see where you're going. You know, it's kind of like basketball. Basketball, you just don't go through them. Sometimes you got to stop and back up and see what they're doing. You know, everything is not 200 miles an hour. And I think emotionally, we just figure out we have to be doing something. And mentally, the world plays a trick on us because the world tells you got to be hustling. Mm-hmm. You know, you ain't doing nothing. You're not doing anything. You're not doing nothing. And that's not always true. You know, there's times when I got to take a step back and say, okay, well, you know, is this good for me? You know, how's this going to impact all those areas of my life? Mm-hmm. You know, because you know, got my own business. I'm working my own business. So if you own a business, you know, you got to make money. But also, this is where all this come into play because, you know, you can't do stuff out of emotion because emotion gets you in trouble. Because if we're emotional, we're not thinking. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to invest in yourself intellectually because I don't know anything that you can do. I'm not going to say there's not, but I don't know anything you can do that's not changing. If you're in a relationship, you know, it's changing. You know, it's changing because of social media, because the things you can go to now, you know, no fault divorce, online counseling, you know, all those dynamics. So you got to continue to feed yourself. So you know, if you have kids, you got to stay up. You know, you got to, you know, new math. Everything is changing. You have to invest in yourself. If you have a career or a business, you got to stay up with the latest information. You know, so intellect is a huge part. You know, and if you get to the spiritual part, yeah, I believe, and people may disagree, I think that's part of the balance that we have as human beings is our connection to God. And how much we tap into that, to me, determines how much peace we have.
So when you hear, you know, health, yeah, what comes to mind first?
Now or before? Because it's two answers. When I was younger, if somebody would have told me health, I went right to physical. Oh, I thought about physical, man. Am I physically fit? Am I doing things? You know, honestly, I didn't even think about the nutritional portion of it. I just thought about the physical fitness of it.
Just running.
You know, yeah. How far can I run without losing my breath, kind of thing. You know, how strong am I? You know, what's my stamina when I'm playing sports? That kind of thing. But as you older and you mature, you come to a point when you realize I gotta have balance in those 5 areas. You know, if I have all the money in the world, but I can't do anything with it because my body's messed up, you know, or I'm emotionally a wreck. You know, people's constantly playing with my emotions, man, or mentally I'm just weak, or you know, intellectually I'm not where I need to be. So now I become introverted because I don't want to be around people because they start having conversations that I can't be a part of. It doesn't work. You know, everybody should have to feed your intellect because you want to be able to have those conversations. You want to be able to talk to people about something other than sports, you know, other than the weather. You know, if you're around a group of people and they talk about current events, you want to be able to say something. You know what I mean? You know, even if you go on a job interview, and I was talking to a group of kids today, and I was telling them, you know, a job interview is not just about the job; it's more about promoting yourself. How well you promote yourself has a long way to go. I mean, excuse me, a long way to do with you getting a job. You know, and being able to talk about things intelligently. You know, and not just sit there and say yes, no, maybe. Because, you know, I had an interview yesterday and it was a terrible interview, great resume, but I got a bunch of one-word answers. I can't learn about you with a one-word answer. And there's not really nothing about it that says, yo, I need to give you a chance. So I think that you got to develop that. You know, especially if you're a dude and you're dating and stuff, you need to develop that. You need to be able to have those conversations. If you're a parent, you need to be able to have those conversations. You know, you got to work on it. Anything you do, you should be, whatever craft, you know, you're doing, you should always be working to be better at it. And that means you got to feed yourself intellectually. That's just the way it is. You know, and if you connect the dots, we talk about mentally, man, you know, there's some pretty smart, dumb people. You know, they're smart when it comes to books, but mentally they just messed up, man. They lack common sense. You know, they consistently do things that don't line up with how smart they are. You know, they could, like somebody made a comment that I was talking to some kids in the school today, some teenagers, and one of the kids made an interesting comment. He said, the question I asked him was, I said, hey, how do you see the world? What's your philosophy when it comes to the world? So somebody said selfish, somebody said evil, somebody said lack of trust, and a couple of things. But the guy who said evil, you know, so you know, my next question was, and I'm getting to the ties of what we're talking about. My next question was, well, how can you impact what you see that's wrong with the world? You know, so we begin to unpack and talk about different things. But that was one of the things we talked about was, you know, how you got to make sure you do all those things, because if you out of sync somewhere, are you contributing to what you don't like in the world? You know, if you selfish, you know, and most people are most people that are selfish, they're typically not taking care of those 5 things, because they're so busy trying to hold on to something. I mean, like kids say, "Wow, man, I ain't getting married, man, because she want to take my check or my cheese." Dude, you ain't have a job.
They still say cheese.
Yeah, but you ain't have a job.
Yeah.
So I think this is where the development, and I think especially people of color, we got to do a better job of holistic development and not focusing on one area, because I think it plays into the pitfalls that society has set up for us. Because they don't want you to be but so intelligent because it keeps you pigeonholed. Now I can justify not giving you opportunities. They want you to be emotionally unstable because I can say, look at them. They can't control their emotions. They want you to not be strong mentally because then I can beat you down. I can talk about you and say things about you and it's going to get in your head. If you are not a spiritual person, I can attack now how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself. Because if you read the Bible and you study the Word and you meditate the Word, you live for the Word, you know what God says about you. So if God says something about you, don't matter what somebody else thinks. But people without that, not all, but some of them, they're easily torn down. And people know it, they'll attack you mentally. Hey, I can't beat you physically, but mentally, hey, Nicole said us the picture of Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray Leonard, he talked trash. He was a master of that. He would get people so angry that they would forget how to fight, and they would he was like tear them apart now because they swinging wild, and he laughing and jabbing. Muhammad Ali was the master of that.
Yeah.
About mental manipulation. Mike Tyson would show up in the ring with a towel.
Just a towel.
Yeah, just a towel right over his head. Everybody's got these fancy goals because it messes with people's psyche. So your mental capacity is so important, and a lot of times when we don't realize it, if you don't feed yourself intellectually, that's why you weak mentally. Because you still operate in the same knowledge 20 years ago. You're like whatever you put in your head, that's what you said because you've done nothing different.
Do you think us as a people, that's where the first step should be focused on is get yourself right mentally?
I mean, I think it's
first.
I think it all goes together. I think it all, like for instance, I try to encompass all 5 at the same time. It's not a question of what you do, whatever. I do all 5. Like when I get up in the morning, that time I wake up at 4:32, I get out of bed. I'm getting myself together mentally. I'm thinking about, man. I'm first of all, I'm thanking God that I'm up for another day. But I'm thinking myself mentally. I'm trying to clear my head. I'm not trying to think about what I got to do during the day. I'm not trying to think about all the issues, everything. I'm just trying to focus on the moment. Trying to clear my head, man. Just trying to have some peace, because the rest of that stuff don't come anyway. So that's the first part, and then I hit the physical part. I'm down here with the treadmill, I got the weights, but I'm also working on the spiritual part because what I have playing. I got gospel music playing in the background. So, songs and about Jesus and things of that nature makes them feed the spiritual part. And it's a mixture from gospel music with words to instrumental, because the instrumental allowed me just to think. To work on myself, emotionally, because now I'm just here, I'm chilling, I'm working, I'm putting energy up, so you work on all aspects of it. The financial part is not happening at that time, but what I do when I get through that, I go upstairs, I take a shower, do all the stuff I got to do, I'm fixing breakfast, so now I'm taking care of the nutritional part, which is nice, but the financial part comes later on because I'm thinking about, okay, I got to do this now. What am I going to do with this now? I got this contract. Somebody says, oh, I got a contract for you. It's worth X amount of dollars. Financially, yeah, I got to, but then I got to look at the other side of it where I can't let my emotions say you got to take this contract because I can't do everything. Or it may not be for me. So to me, you working on all those things. I don't think it's a specific order because I think if you leave one of those things out, you risk not being the best version of you.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily say you're leaving it out, because I'm just speaking for, in generality. Maybe everyone's not, capable of, just waking up and starting that all at once, That's why personally I think mentally and physically maybe the ones that we should start out with, just because as a people.
Which one you think you couldn't start out at? I'm just curious.
Couldn't?
Yeah, which you said you couldn't start them all at once.
I mean, people's financial situations are different everywhere across the board.
But you can start. I didn't say you're gonna be rich, but you can start. You can start by saying, okay, you know what? Today I'm not gonna buy. Today I'm gonna take my lunch. I mean, so you can start right away. I didn't say it's going to be some long plan, but you can say, you know what, for this week, I'm gonna stop buying lunch. For this week, you know what, for this month, I'm gonna write down everything that I spent, so I can see how much do I actually waste. Man. So when I look at what I spend, okay, this is a necessity. I have to buy groceries, I have to put gas in my car, pay my car insurance. But do I have to spend $30 a day for lunch? So you can start there just by charting, because now you can say by the second month, okay, this much is actually disposable income. I don't need to spend $30 a day for lunch. I can take my lunch and bank that $30, there's certain things you can do. So that's how you can start financially. I didn't mean you become a financial guru. Yeah. Intellectually, you can read a page a day. You don't have to sit down and read a novel, because you got to train yourself. If you haven't read, it's going to be hard. Or get a book, and start slow. Get a book of something that you're really interested in and start slow. Because I did. I loved reading as a kid. Kind of got in the middle, I didn't, and now I'm back in love. Like, I'm one of the few people I know that have, I have real books. I got a whole bunch back in there.
And some paperback.
Yeah, and I like reading, but you start somewhere. And some days I'll sit down and I'll read a chapter. Hey, some days sometimes I come down here, some evenings, man, I'll knock out 2 chapters. And sometimes I come down here, it's a page or 2. Spiritually, I read my Bible every day. I got 3 of them open right now on my desk. Plus I do devotional, but I read every day. So you feed those things. Whatever you feed grows stronger, and whatever you don't feed is going to grow weaker. So if you're not feeding those areas of your life, they're going to grow weaker.
Well, and then again, this is in my opinion too. I also think emotionally may be one of the hardest parts as well. Because we're in a society where not everyone, but most people are very emotional, and get triggered easily. So it's kind of hard just off the bat to try to control your emotions. Like, oh, I'm not going to let this affect me today. Because some people just hear one thing and then they just run off with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to tell you, the thing about emotion that you have to be careful of is you got to remember, we're not taught to manage our emotions.
Mm-hmm. And that's another point.
We're not taught to manage our emotions.
They don't teach you that in school, and sometimes in some households they don't teach you that as well too.
Well, you can't teach what you don't have. And I'm not being sarcastic, but you can't. You don't teach what you don't have, and nobody ever teaches you about controlling your emotions, and I have a theory about that, because if I teach you to control your emotions, there's no way I can possibly control them. But if I can control your emotions, I win. I give you this people who get upset all the time. Typically, somebody figures it out, and now they push your buttons. Mm-hmm. If somebody, you go to court, and somebody, they want to make you use your temper. They figure out what the button is and they do it, because you can't control your emotions. I've had people in anger management, and I'm trying to tell them how to navigate. I wish somebody would. So I know they're not going to succeed. You're about to go to court. You don't have any power in court. You just do what you're supposed to do, and just respond. So when you can't control your emotions, somebody else will control them, whether you're in a relationship. And a lot of women end up in domestic violence situations because somebody learns how to control their emotions. A lot of guys end up in bad relationships because somebody's playing on their emotions. People quit a job because they're having a bad moment, and you just walk away from the job. You don't have another job because of emotions. People are shooting each other over emotions. So, when you buy, marketing understands it's an emotional thing. I put these nice big TVs up all over the place, man. Especially tax time, because that many people don't need a new TV every year, but they do, because you go in the store, that's what you see. You buy. Most of us, I would say, at least 30% of what we buy is emotional. Those who have a little extra money, and I'm guilty. I'll go to the outlet thinking I'm not going to do anything, and I get to the Reebok or the Nike store, they got that 50% sale. Like, yo, I got the app on my phone. All the sneakers I have. Do I need another pair of sneakers? Nope. But it's an emotional buy. Because you're in the moment, you see, that looks really cool, man. I got a few extra bucks. It's emotion. They know when you go to buy a car, They take you to see. I don't care what you tell them you want. You can go there and say, I'm here looking at a hoopty. They always show you the top of the line first because it gets you emotional because you're in the car, man, with the Corinthian leather seats, man, and the 12 speakers, man, everything is going off. You living a life, man. And then all of a sudden they take you to the car you're looking at. Mm-hmm. And your emotions like, nah, your common sense saying you can't afford it, but your emotions is already attached, to a higher price vehicle. So that's what they do. When you go into department stores, that's why they spray the perfume and stuff on. It's to get you hooked. And so they know, politicians know what words to say, what ethnic group, what demographic, what economics, whatever, to get a rise out of people because they play on the emotions. And politicians love making you afraid of something and making you think they have the answer. So everybody in the world understands that he who controls your emotions control you. Sports, same thing. Football is always the second guy that gets caught. First guy can smack whatever. The second guy, because he can't control your emotions. Because to me, it's, and when I was playing, my philosophy was, okay, you gonna get me the first time because I'm not gonna retaliate. But later on, my time is gonna come. But I ain't gonna forget. But most of them can't control their emotions, so they go right back. They don't think I got a whole game left. I gotta see you. They don't think like that. Why? Because their emotions stick.
Simple as that. And the second hardest I feel like is spiritually. And the reason why I say that is just because we're kind of like in a spiritual warfare, if you think about it,
Yeah, constantly.
Constantly, like you said, you see the commercials, you see the different movies, TVs, music videos. I feel like things kind of get thrown your way to kind of throw you off that spiritual path that a lot of people are trying to do.
That's why I did the TV fast, because what you put in comes out, man. What you put into your eye gate is going to determine which way that fence blows, and it goes back to what I said: what you feed goes strong. Again, people in advertisement know it. They'll put cookies and stuff right in front of the store because they know when the kids see the cookies, I want that. If you ever noticed, the colorful cereal is right at it's already at eye level. It's the dull cereal that's in the other places, because the color cereal is to draw your attention. Then you'll see the rest of the stuff. If they put the bland cereal like Cheerios and all that, you're not gonna pay attention. But when you see Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops and the bright red boxes, you turn. Then you'll see the rest of the stuff. That's why people with products pay a lot of money to have their products in certain locations because they know. They know that's what people are gonna look at. It's like, that's why people know seasons now not by dates, by decorations.
Yeah.
But go on Home Depot and they got the Halloween stuff up. Oh, Halloween is coming. They ain't gonna look at the calendar anymore. Oh, Christmas is coming. Why? For the same reason. Because your eyes control a lot. And if I go back to spirituality, a lot of stuff we look at is not good for us. You look at stuff with a lot of cursing, man. There's nude scenes and all kind of stuff, man. There's a lot of perverted stuff out there that we look at that's now called entertainment.
Even social media.
Yeah, that you call entertainment. So how you gonna tame something spiritually if that's what you're looking at, if that's what you're putting in your head? Because when you do that, when you sit down to pray or read or whatever, that's what pops into your head because that's what you've been feeding. Because a lot of us don't understand your mind is like a camera, and it's constantly taking pictures, and you may not realize when you look at it, but it's slowly developing in your head. And that's why sometimes at night you'll lay on the night and the whole day come rushing back. Stuff you never thought of, but you start to think about. And another thing, that's why I read something before I go to sleep. Even if it's just a page or something, because I want to get this other stuff out of my mind. I want to go to bed with what I just read. Not some crazy stuff I just saw on TV. So that's why I would do that. Or I put my headphones on, I listen to music. I want to go to bed with something different on my mind because your mind remembers stuff. And when you go to sleep, you can't control it. Stuff just comes pouring out. So again, that's why it's important to have the balance, man. And as far as spiritually, it's also got to be everything we talked about, not just spirituality, but the financial portion of it, intellectual, mental, emotional, physically. You got to be purposeful about obtaining those things. It's not going to come because you want to. It's not going to come osmosis. You got to be purposeful about it. You like I said. I say this all the time. Successful people have schedules. They have routines. My routine incorporates all those things. And that's what you need to do. And you can set your different time now. But my routine incorporates all those things. So it becomes it becomes a habit. Like I was telling your mom, I never thought I'd be that person, but I'm addicted to getting up doing my stuff in the morning. It's a part of me. So even when I stop, I wrestle because I just don't feel right. But I'm addicted to it. I got to get that in. You know, because it's a part of my routine. Just like making breakfast for your mom in the morning. I don't have to do it, but it's a part of selflessness versus selfishness. It's a part of having that servant's attitude. Which kind of goes into a lot of stuff that we're doing. Kel just said, just like it's important to feed our bodies the right food, you have to feed your mind the right food, and you do. There are some people who can't carry a conversation. Why? Because they spend all the time looking at TV.
Introverts on the rise now.
Yeah, but it's not about introverted. It's like somebody said something to me today, and I was cracking up because it's so true. He said, "Hey, you ever notice that a lot of men will spend 6 hours on Sunday watching football games. They spend another 12 hours a week listening to shows talking about the football games they just got finished watching. And then when you try to strike up a conversation, all they can repeat is what they heard. They say nothing new.
Yeah.
So how are you growing if that's what you're doing? And it's the same thing in politics. And I'm not taking a side of anybody, but when I hear people repeat what a politician says, it's like crazy because it's not even true. That's because you're feeding yourself the wrong stuff. Like in the morning, I don't look at TV in the morning. I never was a TV watcher in the morning. I can't look at the news first thing in the morning because it sets the tempo for the day.
Yeah.
And I got that crap in my head. Most of TV is crap anyway. And since I came off the fast, I don't look at TV. I got I'm down here in the man cave. I got music. It's quiet down here. I'm reading. I'm doing different things because I want to take care of every part of myself. Physically, I'm going to be fit because I'm on that treadmill every day, 30 minutes. I'm listening to. So physically, I'm going to be fine. Mentally, I'll make sure I read. I'll make sure I'm reading, man. Emotionally, I'm constantly working on controlling my emotions. Not let people ruffle my feathers. Not let me try purposeful about not getting upset. I got cards. I got a reminder that pops up on my iPad. Slow to speak. Quick to listen. Slow to anger and frustration. It pops up 3-4 times a day. I got a 3x5 card that I have that I look at to help me control my emotions because it's important. Financially, every day I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to manage my finances. So I know I got money in my pocket, but I'm not really hungry. I just want to buy something.
I feel like that's the problem for a lot of people, especially our people. Like they like a lot of retail therapy, or you see something on TV, it's like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta get the new Jordan.
I hear people say it's therapy. And I want to challenge that because somebody said that to me today. It's not therapy. It's not. Because hopefully your therapy lasts long and you buy a new pair of sneakers. But it's a pacifier, and that's what it is. It's a pacifier for the moment. When I get my sneakers, it's not therapy. I'm treating myself. It's not therapy. It's for the moment. Now if I went out and bought a Beamer or something like that, it might last a little longer. But it is. So I mean, it's okay to do that for yourself. But when you call it therapy, I just think that's not correct. And because if I need therapy, I'm going to do something that's going to be sustainable. I need to do something that's going to actually help me through something, not pacify the moment. So I think that's you got to look at that. But you got to look at your finances. Is therapy if you're going broke?
But I think you said something key. People live in the moment.
But that's why you gotta, and just like Kev mentioned about the food, but that's why you have to make sure, man, that you're taking yourself in a holistic way. You have to, and I go back again. He who controls your emotions controls you. That's just a fact of life. And when I sit down with couples, because I do the couples counseling, a lot of times somebody's the puppet master, somebody's the puppet. Somebody's figuring out how to control the other person's emotion. If I want to control her, like the husband, he may want to control her emotions. So he realizes that if he raises his voice, she's totally throwing off her game. So he'll do it. Because all of a sudden now, she's mad, she goes away, he got quiet, and now he's not dealing with the situation. It's like a distraction. Or she knows, if she just gets quiet and irritates the heck out of him, he'll go storming off. She's manipulating him. Because I don't want to answer the question, so I'm just not going to say anything. So people, especially when you're in a relationship, they figure out ways to kind of manipulate each other. They do, because they know how to control your emotions. If you call your spouse, she doesn't like being called fat. You call her fat, you know what's going to happen. So you want to get a reaction. That's what you do. It's the same thing. A lot of parents know how to control the emotions of their kids, so they pull those strings. Oh, you're gonna disappoint mom. You're gonna disappoint dad. And I know some adults who are still in that mindset. All mom got to do is say, and because they know. I know how to control your emotions by saying this. There's some women that all you got to do is say you're pretty to them. Man, they just, they just give you the keys to the kingdom.
Low self-esteem.
Yeah, but once you learn, and social media made it worse because now people tell people how to control their emotions. So you can manipulate people. And like I said, politics do it all the time. Marketeers do it all the time. They manipulate you through your emotions. You don't need 4 TVs. You don't need 12 cars as a professional athlete. You drive one car at a time. And you barely have time to drive that because you're traveling, doing everything else. But emotions. Because somebody said, well, this is a status now. And emotionally, they know, hey, Kobe Bryant got 12 cars. You don't get 12 cars? Emotionally, mentally, they just suck you in. Happens all the time. How many people get married out of emotions? Oh, somebody said, I love you. I love you back. No, you don't.
You heard it first.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt his or her feelings. Yeah. So because emotions, and people understand that. And once you understand that, you kind of, you do.
Do you think the manipulation part, do you think people realize how that could be deteriorating someone's health on all platforms, all levels?
No, because how many people you had the conversation with about holistic, about taking care of all those areas of your life? Most people don't think about it. And then some people don't care because if you're selfish, you don't care.
I would say a large percentage don't think about it.
You don't care. And I would agree. I think most people who I know when I first started, way back when I had to lose weight because I was like 200 pounds. I don't know if you remember, you were young then. And my knees were killing me because no carpets and everything. And I had to lose weight. So I wanted something called, I called it, what was I? 30 days, something I was calling it. I kind of made this whole thing up for 30 days. So for 30 days, that was my first time giving up chocolate, pasta, bread, soda, all that stuff, man. So, and drink more water, working out 30 days, spending time on the work on different things. That was the first time I did it. And I felt so much better afterwards. I did. Clarity, different things, man, just the way I conducted. I felt better physically. I felt better emotionally, and then I started thinking, man, I got to have finances to this. Because finance is one of the things that we worry about, which impacts our emotions and which impacts us mentally. So I got to include finances in it. And so 30-day journey is what I was calling it. So I've been doing it. I've been doing it periodically. I got to get back to it. But it's when I cover all those areas, I feel so much better coming out. I do, always do.
It's funny how you kind of connected all those dots. Like, kind of goes in like a circle, Financially could affect you spiritually or mentally, which could affect you physically in the end.
Drugs and alcohol, spirit. They do. They make you hallucinate. They make you think things. So there's a lot of things out there that attack you spiritually that we just don't pay attention to. Or that TV attacks your subconscious. They'll play these commercials and different things, man. And you may not be thinking about a Reader's Vortex, and the commercial come on, man. In the back of your mind, you want a Reader's Vortex. The Super Bowl is known for that. You may just get finished eating, and now this stuff comes to the Super Bowl. You want what you see on the Super Bowl. That's why people pay so much money to advertise on the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They spend big bucks because they realize that's a Sunday when people who don't even watch no football for the rest of the year watch the Super Bowl. They watch that. Yeah. And people buy cars, all that stuff from commercials they see. That's why they put beautiful women on cars, man, and they do stuff like that because they understand about your emotions. And if we don't do a good job of tying our things together, if one of those areas are out of whack, you can put yourself, you can be in a lot of trouble, man. Or it can cause you some uneasiness and some unhappiness. Any one of them.
And I noticed in the beginning, you talked about the routine and the dedication. I would say a lot of people are missing the routine and they want to have that drive and that dedication.
I drive your mom crazy because when I'm on vacation, I still get up. I don't
Supposed to rest on vacation.
I do. I don't
relax.
I don't get out of bed as early, but I still have my same routine. It's funny because when we used to travel with a bunch of couples, it was hilarious because Dana starts to travel, they knew I would get up to be outside, doing devotional. So all the guys would join me. So we all would be out there every morning. We out there and I would job shorts, whatever, we did it because that's what I did. I don't stop when I go on vacation. I don't get up that early. I cut it back a little bit. Maybe I'm getting up at 7 now, but I do it because, it's a routine. And successful people have a routine. I cannot say that enough. People don't, just kind of hang out and do nothing all the time and think everything's going to be okay. The equation, intellect over emotions equals success. And I agree. He's right. He's right. So you have to think like that. You almost sometimes have to be cerebral. You can't always be, because people play on it. But I think it's important though that especially we as a people, because we face a lot of stuff. And I'm not being chauvinistic here, but especially as African American males, a lot of stuff we deal with in our culture, in our societal culture, not our African American culture, because I say this all the time. If something goes down, I can't run to a cop. I got to be careful. I can't turn and just start running up on a cop. That has to be in my mind. If I'm out, if I'm in close, like for instance, they have these gender bathrooms downtown, all gender bathrooms downtown. So you go in there and some of these women will walk in right behind you. I'm always in the back of my mind like, nah, I'll go back out in town too, because anything can happen. I'm conscious of that, especially if a woman of another ethnicity walk in there, I'm on my mind like, all I need is somebody, so we have a different set of baggage that we deal with. So we got enough stuff going on. So we need to make sure we're balanced, man. If you're a dad, your kids, somebody was laughing because, Jalil was on the headshots for me down here, and Nicole called me. So he started laughing. He said, yeah, man. He said, because you always a father. I said, yeah, don't go wait till somebody die. Either you or them, you're always going to be a dad. So that's another thing. If you're a husband, you have a wife that you're responsible for. So you got a lot of stuff out there. So if you're not square across the board, and I will say this, you take on the spirit of your leader, whether it's your father or whether it's your boss, or you pick up some of those characteristics. So when I see, like if I go somewhere and I see people acting all crazy, yeah, the boss is usually acting crazy. The boss is usually inconsistent. I see people like I'll go on one of my sites and it's disciplined, and I know because I know the person who's running it. I go to another site, go less disciplined. I know because that person go less disciplined. And, because you take on the spirit of your leader. Your personality, your leader. If you're around them enough, you begin. There's exceptions every rule, but you do. And the work culture takes on the spirit of the person in charge. That's how it is.
So I was going to say, in other words. Because I noticed you said how on vacation, a lot of the men joined you when you woke up early to do the devotion and everything. Do you think a positive, healthy lifestyle can be very infectious?
Yeah. I think what happens with a lot of us, we live in a time now where we have to see stuff. This is not the generation. My father would tell me to do stuff. And he would always say, do as I tell you, not as I do. Those times are gone now. We live in a generation now where people kind of see stuff. They be from the show me. I got to see. Once I see, now I can start to digest this. People tell, man, I'm not getting up that early. I'm not getting up there. They say it all the time. Okay, yeah, I tried it. And I got a couple people work for me. They tried it. Now they're addicted to it. But when I first said, oh, you crazy. Yeah, because, you haven't seen it. But my question to them, everybody else, if I'm not living up to my potential or what I'm doing is not helping me get better or get me closer to what I'm trying to achieve, that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for different results. Why am I going to keep living that lifestyle? It don't make sense to me. Now when you're 21, you don't know any better. But as you get older, I gotta change some stuff. If I want change in my life, I gotta change some stuff. And I said talking to the kids today, they were, yeah, man, y'all real wise when you're in school. But you're not so wise if you take that and apply that to when you leave this building. Because if you leave this building operating the same way you operate, and in this building, you're in trouble.
That would be tough to survive.
Yeah, but most people don't think like that. Why? Because they can't see it. Because they've never been exposed to it. There's two questions I ask when I do my workshops, and maybe Kev will put his answer in the box. There's two questions I ask when I'm working with adults. I say, okay, first question is, who wants to be happy? Everybody raise their hand.
Yeah.
Who wants to be successful? Everybody got their hands up. Okay. Who wants to be in love? Everybody got their hands up. Okay. So let's backtrack. What does happiness look like? Now these people start to think about it. Well, you raise your hand without hesitation. So my question is, how can you achieve something that you have no idea what it looks like? Same thing with success. If you don't have any idea what success looks like for you, will you ever know? You just say it because it sounds right. You never really saw the success that you want. It's the same thing with love. When I sit down with couples, most couples struggle because if I sit down and say, both of y'all, what's your definition of love? Probably 90% of the time I get two different answers. So if y'all can't decide what love is, so you saying love is to death do us part, she's saying love is you get on my nerves. How does that work? So this is why I go back to what I said. If you got two people in a relationship working on those different areas, your chances of being successful is a lot more. It increases dramatically. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it increases dramatically because people who work on those things, they look at themselves first. Is something is wrong? Let me look. What could I do? What did I do wrong? And not even what you did wrong. There's three things you got to factor in. How did I react? Did I have to react right then and there? Did I even have to react at all? But that comes from looking at those 5 areas, because if you can't control yourself mentally and emotionally, you won't react to everything. You do. And then because you start reacting to everything, now you mess with yourself physically because people get ulcers, they worry about stuff. Oh, I shouldn't say that, I'm gonna lose my job. All kind of stuff goes with it. Or you argue now because you said something. It impacts that. And then it impacts you spiritually because there's a lot of folk in church walk around feeling guilty. They're not enjoying freedom in Christ, man. They're feeling guilty because they're carrying this baggage around because they're not working on the balance. It impacts you financially because you can't focus. Kev said happiness, success, and love are individualized. They're what they mean to the individual. So he gave me a deep philosophy answer. But it is. But I that's absolutely true. But to be in a successful relationship, there has to be some commonality.
Yeah.
There has to be some commonality, because if two people both have a definition of love and it doesn't include sacrifice, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. If two people, I've sat down with couples who look like they're great couples. But the problem what they struggle is because both of them saw sacrifice as compromise, and neither one of them wanted to compromise. It's not compromise. Sometimes no is not no indefinitely. It just means not right now. It means there's a better space and a better time for it. So you gotta have some definite, even success. If you're working on success and somebody walks up and says, you want to be successful? Yeah. Okay. What do you need to be successful?
A lot of money.
Yeah. A lot of, so but what is that? That's not, you can't how much money? I want to be rich. Same thing. Okay, well, how much is rich? A lot of money. Well, what's a lot of money? Because to some people, I remember when I got my first check for $5,000, I thought that was a lot of money. Yeah. And then I had to come home and divide up with all y'all knuckleheads. you got to pay for this, pay for that, pay for that. It's not, so you realize, so what does that mean to be rich? We don't define those things. That goes back because we don't look at all the areas in our lives. For instance, the physical aspect, we set goals all day long, man. I want to lose some pounds, I want to scope, I want to tone up, man. And, we set all day long, even nutrition. I'm going to eat this, I'm going to be vegetarian. We got that. But when it comes to the rest of our lives, man, what does love mean to me? What does it mean to my spouse? Because love is also something that evolves over a period of time. And if you're not working on yourself constantly, you're not evolving, and somebody is evolving, and that's a problem. Happiness, what does that mean? Some people think happiness means to just leave me alone. I'm a communicator, so happiness means I need to be able to communicate. So see, all those things that if you're not working on those things in a holistic way, you struggle in some area, and that one area can be the area that can help you not become successful, deter you from having a healthy relationship. It can mess up a lot of stuff.
Now, for you personally, is there? I know we talked about the physical and the mental,
Yeah.
the spiritual, the financial. Was there one of those aspects, emotional? Was there one of those aspects that may have been tougher to develop good habits than the other?
Man, I'm still struggling with the emotional part. I think, and see, this is the problem. Most people think emotional means you're gonna break down and cry. No, that's just one emotion. Some of the emotions is your lack of patience that cause you frustration. It can be anger. There's a lot of different things that can go into emotions, man. And for me, that's something I always struggle. It's funny because that was the thing that made me really good in sports was emotion. Like, I've had some of my better games when somebody pissed me off. And some of my friends laugh about that. Somebody, like, I'll be playing the game, man. I'm just out there having fun, man. I'm having a so-so game, and somebody will say something, and here we go. Now all of a sudden, I raise the bar, raise the level of the game. It's kind of crazy because I should be able to do that anyway. But Michael Jordan was like that.
There's a lot of people like that.
Michael Jordan was like that. Coach, like, yo, just Andrew Toney used to play for the Sixers, and Andrew Toney was probably one of the greatest scorers in basketball. He got hurt, got cut short, and the running joke was, leave him alone and he get bored because you couldn't stop him. Emotions. So I think that's how powerful emotions are. We just don't pay attention to it. So for me, that's one, and I still struggle with it. Like, I think if emotions and Kev will probably add to this. Emotions is if you have some emotions. Let me put it this way: if emotion is something you struggle with, there's always a nemesis out there that pushes those buttons, who don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
Somebody that works for you, whatever, man, is like, come on, really? I was laughing because I was talking to somebody today, and I wrote this in my devotion today. I said, man, I think sometimes people assign themselves to you just to see if they can just kind of screw things up. They do. So I think it's important. So for me, emotion is always the one that I struggle with.
Or it could be not showing too much or not showing any emotion.
Yeah, but I think
gets me in trouble.
But see, for me, like, and sometimes your mom is my balance because she said I care too much. We were leaving Wawa the other day, and this guy was out there. He was dressed pretty good, older guy, and he was like, oh man, and he was polite. And I don't always carry money.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, whatever you give me. So I went back. I went to the car, and your mom looked at me. She gave me $5. She said, go back, give him $5 because she well, most people were like, well, use for alcohol. Yeah, well, they come on and all that stuff. That's why I do the toy drive every year because I really believe that that we're blessed to be a blessing to others, and that's part of my prayer every day with your mom. Continue to bless me, with blessings flow through, to me and through me, because I believe that's the way we should operate. And so I don't get into the fact that this person may have a Benz or this person. That's not the point. I'm just there to distribute. And I think that's the attitude that we have to get back to. And I go back full circle to what I was talking to the kids. That you say the world is evil. What are you doing to make your part of the world not evil? You say the world is selfish. What are you doing to make your part of the world not selfish? To make it selfish. You say the world is unfair. What are you doing to make sure everybody around you is treated fair? It's not that deep. We make it that deep, but you can't do those things if you're not. There has to be a process of self-examination. There has to be a process of which one of these areas am I not doing well in.
That's hard work in itself.
It is, but I do it at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. The end of the year, I'm just assessing, the whole year, totality. And I'm getting ready for next year. But I do it at the beginning of the year to make sure I'm on track. Just like folk who join the gym. And then the middle of the year, I go back and look at it again, see where am I at? What do I need to focus on? And I think everybody should do that, man. But I think if you're not working, and I say it again, if you're not working those 5 things, you're probably struggling in some area of your life, man.
And that, again, for the people who may just be tuning in, that's spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially, health in general.
Did you say intellectually?
Yeah, I said
all right.
Intellectually. Isn't that mentally?
No.
Intellectually as well.
Intellectually is like feeding yourself, reading is learning. It's like gaining knowledge.
I had to improve on that.
It is increasing your knowledge. It's increasing, and it's not always about books. It could be, current events. What's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Russia. Intellectually is increasing your ability to have conversations, intelligent conversations. Mental is like to be able to musa. Mental is like this to be able to, sometimes you got to disconnect to rest your brain, to rest your senses, to kind of gather yourself to make sure, because there's a lot of smart people out there that's crazy.
A lot.
They got the book smart,
yeah.
But so the mental aspect is equally important. And again, we don't pay attention to it. We stress ourselves out. We'll take care of our body, but we don't take care of our minds. We in the gym working out, thinking about all our problems at work. Oh, I hate this. We do. Instead of saying, okay, this is a space that I'm just gonna. When I come down here, that's what I come down here. This is my space. When I come down here, I'm not coming down here to think. I'm not coming down here to worry. I'm not. I come down here to unplug and just kind of clear my head. Whether it's working out, whatever. I just, whether it's Mackenzie's down here, that's what I do down here. This is the space I designated. This is my safe place.
Safe zone.
Which is probably why I don't have company. I'm bring some other crap down here.
I don't think I see anyone outside the family down here.
Because I'm very careful who I connect myself to. I think you have to, because that if you connect yourself to the wrong person, they can penetrate any one of those spaces. They can mess up any one of those spaces. So you got to be careful.
And that was a very great thing that you said, and I feel like that's a very great point to end on and everything.
Everybody don't deserve being on your journey, man.
Again, like you were saying, the health in general is a very important aspect of life. All aspects that like we said, financially, intellectually, physically, mentally, emotionally. Once they're all in balance, it seems life is easier. In a sense,
it does. Not easy. But easier.
Yeah. But again, above average black men, we're here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. Chris couldn't make it today, but shout out to him as well.
He was here in spirit, man. I'm sporting the hoodie he gave me for Christmas. So I was sporting the hoodie he gave me for Christmas.
Again, we're on all platforms: Instagram. Gotta get on Twitter. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Podbean.
I gotta go on Apple. That's me. Matter of fact, my goal this weekend is to get us set up on Apple.
Yeah, I gotta make more TikToks on
Apple.
So we both gotta go.
We on Spotify. We on Podbean. We on Instagram. We on YouTube. We on Facebook. We on iHeartRadio. So we on all those things. Because usually it's funny because when I'm talking to people out through the iHeartRadio.
And again, to the people on Podbean, couldn't really see the messages, but thank you for leaving messages and hanging with us. Definitely appreciate it. And the people on Facebook and Instagram as well. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your night.
So what I think I'm gonna do for the people on Podbean, I'm gonna have to post the address or something so they can reach out to us another way, because Podbean just can't seem to get that part right.
Or if there's a way we could post like a number or like WhatsApp number where they could send some things in.
Or direct them to one of them other pages.
Yeah. If you go on Podbean, check out Instagram.
But we want to say again, another great show. Over Black Men. Chris Pender.
Devin Pender. Enjoy the rest of your night.
And we will see you next week. Same time. Same channel. Place.
I gotta take a shower.
Never